Hi guys, and welcome to my very first video. As you may or may not know, I'm a really big Star Wars fan, and that'll be pretty much what this channel is gonna be about. Me discussing Star Wars and discussing certain topics and just sharing my love for this incredible franchise. I wanted to start off by discussing something that I find quite interesting, and that is who was the most powerful Jedi, and specifically who was the most powerful Jedi during the Republic. So, as we all know, the most powerful Jedi of all time is Luke Skywalker, but that isn't what this video is gonna be about, even though we can make something about him and his powers at a later date. I just want to focus on the prequels and the Jedi of that time. So, without further ado, let's get into it, and I hope you enjoy. So to me it really comes down to three characters: Anakin, Mace and Grandmaster Yoda. These are three pretty evenly matched in terms of raw power, and nobody else really does put up a contest. With that said, there are fighters that would put up a challenge in terms of a duel, as we can see with Obi-Wan and Anakin on Mustafar, where Obi-Wan was the least powerful of the two, but he still managed to defeat his opponent. Another instance is where Plo Koon defeated Grandmaster Yoda in a sparring fight. So there are instances where less powerful Jedi does defeat these three, but just in terms of raw power, I believe these three are the most powerful. Duels can differ. There are a lot of factors that play a part in who comes out on top. So this video is not gonna really be about who defeats who, but more of who is the most powerful overall. So let's start off with Anakin, the chosen one. Anakin was a prodigy, an easily passed fellow student in his time as a Padawan. During the Clone Wars and when he reached knighthood, he really started to stand out. Extremely powerful both with the Force and in lightsaber combat, winning countless battles during the war, both with his own power but also with his skill as a commander, using unorthodox ideas to always overcome his opponents. He was fast, agile and strong, and when we see him in the Revenge of the Sith, he had surpassed many of the masters on the Jedi Council. We also see him defeating Count Dooku or Darth Tyrannus, something that few Jedi could have managed. Firstly, I just want to say that Anakin was the chosen one, and would easily surpass anyone in the galaxy had he reached his full potential. In Revenge of the Sith, he is 22 years old, and the fact that he is as powerful as he is at that age is extremely impressive, but he has a long way to reach his full potential. As we see him, I'm gonna put Anakin in third place. The thing that puts him there for me is his inexperience. Both Mace and Yoda had decades, if not centuries, to perfect the skill and knowledge. The other thing that puts him there, and a bit of a disadvantage, is that Anakin mainly focused on lightsaber combat and brute strength rather than control with the Force. Had Anakin been given more time to study the Force and perfect his skill and reach his full potential, he would have fucking demolished any opponent put before him. Whether that is Mace, Yoda, Luke, Sidious, Abeloth, I'll make a video about her shortly. But as it was, he's in third place. Let's move on to Mace and Yoda, the two people with the highest positions within the Jedi Order. Mace being the elected leader of the Jedi Order and the Grandmaster Yoda, both being exceptionally skilled and knowledgeable about the Force. Mace was considered the finest warrior of the Jedi, mostly because Yoda rarely showed off his skill with a lightsaber, but also because he was incredibly good. Mace used a variant of the forbidden lightsaber form, Yu, a variant called Vapad that he created and mastered. It was incredibly effective against dark side users, as it turned his opponent's dark side energy and reflected it back at them. That's pretty much the reason he defeated Sidious in their duel. Mace also used an ability called Shadow Point. What it did was it allowed the user to sense the significance of an event and key moments where the actions could change the outcome. Mace could pretty much see what he needed to do to win and see his opponent's weaknesses. Grandmaster Yoda was extremely powerful. Having mastered 6 of the 7 lightsaber forms, he was well equipped for any fight and could switch between the forms to counter his opponents. His favorite form was, however, Form 4, Ataru. Yoda was considered the master of this form and could perform it perfectly. It relied a lot on speed and acrobatics, as we can see in his duel against Darth Tyrannus in Attack of the Clones. Being almost 1,000 years old, he had mastered the Force, being knowledgeable in pretty much every aspect of it. However, being 1,000 years old had some downsides. As he fought, he had to use tremendous amounts of Force energy to keep fighting, especially using Form 4. This meant that he couldn't go on forever and would be less effective the longer the fight went on. These two are very evenly matched, both in lightsaber combat but also with the Force. But I have to give it to Yoda. His experience and knowledge about the Force was unparalleled. Having mastered pretty much all aspects of the Force, topping it off with becoming a Force Ghost, teaching new Jedi for hundreds of years is too much for Mace to handle. His lightsaber combat was also incredible. Mace does have some impressive abilities that makes his fighting more effective, but Pod is however most effective against dark side users, and even though it's great in other situations, Yoda's flexibility with all 6 forms makes him prepared for any situation. Shatterpoint is also good, but against such powerful enemies as Sidious or Yoda, that have very few weaknesses, it becomes less effective. Something that is often brought up when you're discussing Yoda and Mace is that Mace was able to defeat Sidious and Yoda wasn't. I don't think you compare their power levels like that. One character that beats another character is not proof that he will beat another character. For example, Mace beating Palpatine does not mean that Mace beats Yoda. Mace's fighting style and abilities gave him a significant advantage against the Sith Lord, primarily by Pod reflecting the dark side energy back at Palpatine. But if Mace were to fight Yoda, but Pod isn't as effective, giving Yoda the advantage, plus his immense knowledge and skill that will lead to Yoda winning. And I also believe that Yoda would have won against Sidious if the fight continued. You can see in the movie that Yoda was able to disarm Sidious, so if they kept going at each other, Yoda might have gone out on top. This is not for certain. Yoda was thrown off the platform at the end of the fight and then chose to give up and go into exile. So even though I believe that he might have won over Palpatine, it's not for certain. So that is my ranking. In my opinion, Grandmaster Yoda is the most powerful Jedi during the prequel era, followed closely by Mace Windu and Anakin Skywalker. Thanks a lot for watching the video. If you have any questions about the video or any suggestion for future videos, please leave a comment. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like and consider subscribing to the channel. I'll be making a lot more Star Wars videos in the future. But take care and may the Force be with you always.